Welcome back, travelers, to another episode of hold on. Joe, what are you wearing?
A shirt.
Are you going to lift weights?
It wasn't originally my shirt.
Welcome back to Legendary Lore, where we are going to be talking about the first, actually we're just going to be talking about the next 10. I'm just thrown off by Joe. Joe, why?
This was there.
Okay, I guess that's the same reason for climbing Mount Everest. We're just going to get right to it. First guy we got is Kangee. What do you know about Kangee, Joe?
He's a bird wizard.
You're not wrong.
I know.
He also has his own crush saga, but that's beside the point. Kangee
They
is
make
from...
this crush that's Sour Patch Kid flavored. It's really sweet, but also sour, and also berry flavored. Like, first it's sour, then it's sweet.
So this is Kangee. He's got basically not much story to him. He's a bird person. Been a very difficult mating season for
Also
him.
made me defecate blue.
I don't think that was the... yeah, he was just from Altaria. He was during the time of Scourge and Odyssey and all that stuff.
Why was he from a big fluffy dragon?
Scourge.
Altaria.
Altaria. Okay, I was like, Scourge? The point is, there's no partner anymore, so forget trying to pair him up with somebody. This is just who he is. This is his life. He's a flying type kind of guy. Just boosts flyers.
And dragon.
Next up, my least favorite legendary in the entirety of this thing. I'll get more into the reason why we'll have a separate episode just to explain how terrible this card is.
Can you really go on for a whole episode?
It could be at least a 10-minute episode on my deconstruction of why I despise Kwain.
That is true. We were up an extra hour because I got this explanation already.
This is a new session, by the way. That's why he mentioned that. This happened last time. And I was like, oh! So
that's why my hair is wet. You're going to see it progressively get dry as the session goes on.
That's interesting.
And I have a mustache now.
So
and I'm wearing a women's shirt.
This is Nymris. Nymris, unlike the Nimrod that I'm doing this episode with, Nymris is a fairy from the plane of Lorwyn. Joe, do you know anything else about this character?
I recognize Una.
Yes, good. Una, Queen of the Fae, is, believe it or not, Queen of the Fae. And in the original Lorwyn story, she was actually killed. She was supposed to have been defeated. But there was a character named Marilyn the Mornsong who was apparently a construct elf created by
Wasn't she a
Una.
card?
Yes, Marilyn was a card. But more importantly, she was basically a proto-Una, so that in the event that Una was destroyed over the course of Lorwyn's transition to Shadowmoor during the Great Aurora, or basically the world just shifting in general, she was a backup plan. And with that, Marilyn would eventually evolve into Una and become the new Queen of the Fae, which is basically what most likely happened. We don't have a lot of information on what happened in Lorwyn in the present day. We just know Una's still around because of Nymris. Basically, her Nymris's whole deal, she leads a clique. Every group of fairies has a clique in the Lorwyn universe. And so she leads them and she pesters people until they have nightmares and she takes their dreams. That's literally the entire point of her character.
These don't have very fleshed out stories like the Monocode ones, do they?
Well, not all of the... I mean, we'll get to like two that have ones. This one you might like. This, tell me what you know about her.
Absolutely nothing.
Now tell me if you heard this story before. A mermaid princess in an underwater kingdom. Her father tells her to avoid the people on the surface because they're dangerous. Yet she wants to be part of their world, and she kind of just like she sees this like the ship, and there's a storm, and they're gonna die. And she's like, oh look, I can help them, and then maybe marry a prince or something of the land. And so she goes and she saves them, and they're like, "Arg me, matey, thank you for saving us." And she's like, "You're welcome. Are you a prince?" He's like, "Sure, I be a prince." And she goes, "By the way, I'm from a kingdom under the sea." You should definitely come visit sometime. And he's like, I definitely will, with me swashbuckling crew. And so she's like, yay, I have a boyfriend now. And then the guys swoop in and murder her entire kingdom and take all the loot because they were pirates, obviously. And so she vows.
Okay, but what does this have to do with Beauty and the Beast?
But yeah, she's basically just an Ariel that was more realistic. And so she
So the actual version of the Little Mermaid, but with pirates.
With pirates. So better. That's her entire spiel. Is she's just like wants to kill all the landlubbers. Except
Also,
for
do you
this
have
guy.
a set like path for these, or am I supposed to be keeping track of time?
Yes. Time.
Well, we're gonna start doing that now. Then go on.
This is Juri. Do you have any idea what the Juri review is?
Isn't that character from Street Fighter?
There is a Juri in Street Fighter, but this is a reference to the Juri review of Ravnica. As you can tell, this is a Rakdos cultist, and they're basically the best jester in town right now. Everyone loves them, and they're hilarious. And I mean, someone's always going to die, but that is kind of the fun of it. Are you going to be the one that gets skewered by 1,000 needles? I don't know, maybe. He makes fun of Jace. He makes fun of the Azorius, obviously. He makes fun of the bumbling Boros, and of course, who's not going to make fun of the God Emperor Nicol Bolas? Because how else are you going to deal with your trauma? Eat it? So, basically, at this point, Rakdos even shows up at his shows, and he thinks it's great. But Rakdos also likes to be the center of attention, so it's only a matter of time before Juri gets devoured by the demon himself. And, I mean, that his thing actually kind of makes sense. When you sack a permanent, put a +1 on him. He slowly gets bigger the more party you're having. And when he dies, he deals damage to his power to any target. So basically, in a sack focus deck, he's going to be super powerful because you sack 3 things or whatever, he becomes a 4/4. That's a lot of damage. He dies, that's a lot more damage. As long as you have something that you can continuously do stuff with, token producers, sack effects, I think he's really fun. I like him. And now we got Blim, the comedic genius. Blim, Joe, is an imp. Do you know anything else about him?
If you combine his name and his species, he's Blim.
That's actually mind-blowing. That is really great. I actually love that. I'm almost entirely sure that has to have been the reason. He's basically a comedian. He knocks him dead every time. I love what you've done, Joe. But basically the way he works is he gives gifts. And you don't want them because you take damage for having them. Tuya Bearclaw. Other than
What's
being
it?
a donut. What's a Tuya? So Tuya Bearclaw is the she's from the plane of Tarkir. I know I mentioned a little bit of who she was to Joe off screen before, but Tuya Bearclaw basically she got this bear cub. The mother was dead, eaten by dragons and all that, because this is in the modern Tarkir, and she basically becomes an amazing warrior with a bear steed. She's
Both Tarkirs are playable in modern.
Yes.
He's modern
Anyways.
Tarkir.
Okay. But Tuya is basically Sirach, the hunt master, I think is what he's called. She's part of his, she's like one of his main people, his most close individual. And she works really great with Sirach in both of his iterations, mainly because she just gets huge whenever she's fighting with something that's huge. Riding a bear into battle tends to do that for you. Also, the reason she's called Bearclaw is because if she were named Dragonclaw, a Tarkir would kill her, because you can't name anyone Dragonclaw. It's considered like a really bad idea. But naming her Bearclaw is like a nice little loophole, where they all know
So
what.
that's why Sirach doesn't have his last name.
Yeah, because he was the Dragonclaw, but he's.
I just
not
imagine
anymore.
Sirach getting closer, just like, I feel like in another life I would have punched that. What? That? Like,
The
bear?
bear.
Yeah.
Hans. Joe, tell me what you know about Hans.
I've been looking at him. He actually looks really fun.
Yes. Now, as you can see in the background, you have this girl. Her name is Safi. as you can tell, their father's name was Erik because he's Erik's son and she's Erik's daughter. It's the Norse naming thing. But they're not from Kaldheim. They're from Dominaria. And they originally appeared in the card Lorgoyf. Lorgoyf being this giant monster that no one wants to touch because it eats things and gets bigger. So, these two were out doing their thing. They actually kind of got retconned because Hans in the original story was like a young lad. He was kind of scrawny and he runs away. In this one, he looks like a bumbling buffoon. So, Safi saves her brother from getting eaten by the Lorgoyf, but her entire head is first engulfed and then the rest of her is swallowed whole after that. So that's what Hans' last image of his sister was. Safi has her own card that was in Time Spiral that was specifically designed to save people that were going to die. I believe
he's going to die.
Yes. I think you sacrificed her to blink something so that if it was being targeted or something, you could save it. But Hans, he makes things fight because he just keeps running into monsters. There's a card, I believe it's called the Revenant. I could be wrong on that one, but it was one of the Wrath-based playing ones. I think it was Stronghold. It shows up, and he's like, "Oh, not again." That's the flavor text. Is Hans just saying "not again" because he sees a giant monster that's going to eat him.
So we finally have him as a card.
Yes, he's been wanted for a while, I'd say, and we finally get to see him. And I love the fact that out of all these cards, the red-green ones have some of the best story behind them as far as the allied colored ones go. Now, Hamza. Hamza is from the old time. No, the old timeline. Well, Arashin is in Tarkir, and he's from the old timeline in Tarkir before the dragons. He was an orphan, and basically just like a super powerful orphan elephant man. And as you can see, it says it costs 1 less for each creature with the counter on it. That just has to do with the Abzan mechanics. And creature spells cost 1 less to cast for each creature you control the +1 counter. So he gets really cheap. He makes everything else really cheap as long as you're playing with a ton of +1 counters. And that's really his whole thing, just make the family bigger. I stand with every member of my clan and they stand with me. It's literally just a family elephant man. I love him.
I like it. Are we going to get one of everything from the old Tarkir?
The what?
We're going to get one of everything from the old Tarkir?
No. I believe this was the last one explicitly from Old Turkey. I'm just checking real quick to make sure that is a correct statement, and it would appear to be so.
Are we going to get a Salumgar and a Kolaghan then?
I don't remember if that already happened.
Because we got Abzan and we got Jeskai, and then we got Atarka, so we'd need...
I think that was it. I don't think there was any of the other two.
Oh, but I like Kolaghan.
I know you do, Joe.
But
we got two Rakdos guys instead. And
that's true.
To round out the story, we have Lathiel, the bountiest Dawn. It's a unicorn.
Yeah.
That's literally it. I mean, it's got a little bit of stuff, but it's basically just a unicorn. It's friendship is magic, skewer people with its horn kind of deal.
I hate it.
Whoop-de-doo. That's how this episode ends.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you want a better episode, go ahead and tune in tomorrow with some more Legends of League of Legends.
The odd colored ones, the enemy colored ones, they have some really fun stuff. We're gonna get to hear about Liesa, Belborka, Captain Vargas Wrath. It's gonna be great. It's a good time all around.
I just realized most of the dual color combos I play are enemy colors.
Yes, they are.
I love Orzhov, I love Azet, I love Boros.
Yeah.
But I also love Rakdos. Bye, guys.